Welcome to the Growth Mindset Podcast with me, Sam Harris, your host. I invite fascinating humans from all walks of life to share their wisdom and unpack their mindsets and formulas for growth. Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're having a conversation between me and my business partner, Jack Hughes, and he's been my best friend for over 20 years. We started Reason FM, our business, which is a social podcast player to let people listen to podcasts together and stay more in touch with their friends and see what other people are doing, and to give them a low level reason to interact every day and just stay a part of each other's lives. And we've always thought about friendship and how to make the best of it and how to be the best friend you can be and sort of enrich your life with the right relationships. And the following is just a really big conversation into friendships and how to get the most out of them and how you should value them. And yeah, we just go into a lot of interesting things and how you can engineer tribes around you and just have a better support system and feel less lonely and just think about how you show up in the world. So it's a really interesting conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too.
So hi, I'm Jack Hughes. I'm one of Sam's oldest friend, probably maybe one of them. Unless you've had a weird one that you've had since the age of 2 that you just
I've got one friend who I literally sat on his mum's belly whilst she was pregnant with him.
I'm not sure that counts though. I'm Sam's oldest friend, and we went to the same school together growing up, and I was the loudmouth guy with no friends, and Sam was the much quieter person with more friends, and just grew up and went into salesy roles after doing an English and drama degree, and went and worked in growth marketing, worked in pretty prestigious-y tech startups that did well, and then I came and eventually joined Syncify with Sam. We co-founded it about just over a year ago now, actually, about 11 months ago, 12 months ago, 13, 14 months ago.
Good, all of those numbers. So I technically started the business 13 months ago now, and then you officially joined, I think, 11 months ago, so you're coming up for your year anniversary, which is exciting. Yeah, one thing I think is that I've sort of noticed is that I've got some really good friends, and I'm pretty happy about my friends, but they're all in different groups. Most of my friends aren't friends with my other friends, which is unhelpful. Yeah. And being a guy, I haven't spent a lot of time chatting to them, which is one of the reasons why I had a real drive to build Syncify. I was shit, I just want a place where I can go and hang out with people and chat about stuff. Whereas you've been really good at building kind of tribes around you of people where you just have these groups of people that you just are a part of, and you I feel like you're often the leader of these things and make them happen. So I wanted to go into that because there's a really good book around that, which I think has really changed your mentality on it, which I am now trying to culture in my relationships and stuff as well.
Are you talking about the book Tribes? Are you talking about...
Yeah, or just the general formation of tribes, but also the book, but just what you're doing with that would be cool.
Yeah. So I guess the question is why I kind of have done this, or why?
Yeah, why? How?
Okay,
it's a general topic, so dive into a bit as we go into it. But
so sure. I think it kind of stems with me, and straight off the bat, I always find it really interesting to hear people's responses. When I grew up, I didn't have that many friends, so I had you and another guy called Mitch, and I had this other couple of other people, but generally until I was about 16. I had maybe less than a handful of friends, maybe who I'd actually thought these guys really care about me. And then once I got into a school where I was a lot happier being me, I just seemed to enjoy the group mentality of people who I can't really describe it, this natural sense of being there for one another on the most basic level. So this basic kind of carnal level of, okay, this guy is one of my really good friends, but he's also not just looking after me, he's looking after one of my other really, really good friends who also happens to be a really, really good friend with another friend I'm really, really good friends with. And I was so attracted to seeing people when I was about 15 or 16 at the time who'd already come up with these little things, these little kind of cohorts of friends. And I was that is one of the most protective little natural things in environments that I've ever seen in that way. And I just remember really literally thinking I want to be in part of one of these. I said, I want to be in what I'm going to force my way in to one of these. I've never been in one before. I'm going to force my way into one of these things. And that means on a Friday night or Saturday night, I knew that one, if not all these people are going to be able to do something, plan an activity, and there's always going to be a few of us doing it. And I think what happened was once I had successfully had my first 2 or 3 groups of these friends, I found it, I realized I never want to have, I never want to be, although I do have individual friends in different places, I benefit so much more from this environment, because when you grow, everyone grows. When the friendship grows between one of you, everyone else is growing at the same time. It's in that weird Conor McGregor expression as well. It's like when one of you goes to war, we all go to war sort of thing. And it is a bit of like an echo chamber, but I just found this huge wealth of security. And one of the reasons I also now strive to get other people into this tribe format is because I want them to appreciate and have the same security I feel like I do. And which is why I kind of talk to you about it, and it's definitely a difference we have when I have those kind of things, and you have these very strong individual relationships, which I have with you, but you seem to have, that seems to be more formulaic in your life than it is in mine.
Yeah, it was really interesting, kind of just to sort of spend more time with you to sort of see that you have that, because I just hadn't noticed it so much. And suddenly I knew my sister, she's got like a really strong core group of friends from like her school, like she's at the same school until she was 18, and then again from uni, because she's lived with the same people for 4 years at uni, whereas I went to like 4 different schools, and so they had like a few years at each one. And then like university, I was in different flats every single year with different people, and was like so busy running my business and other stuff that like I had lots of friends doing different stuff. I never really actually just had like one core group of people. Like, I've always like just flitted around and things. And even at college, I was actually kind of quite popular at that point, but I was also half hanging out with my friend that I already mentioned, like from since I was a kid, who was at the private school. So I was half hanging out with the private school people, half with the college people, and I was just like fucking everywhere, and like I spread myself too thin, probably. Yeah.
Well, I did the same thing as well, right? Like, and it's cost me. I'm sure we'll talk about it later. It's spreading yourself too thin was also a major thing you're doing. And when you create these tribes, you feel like you don't necessarily need to try and be everyone's friend, because you've got your people. And when the people got your people and they've got you don't feel the need to. But I think, when I moved down, the first people to Cornwall, the first people I made friends with weren't the people I went to school with. You met a bunch of them, like Tama people. But then even then, I felt myself wanting them to hang out with each other as well, and they were already hanging out with each other. I think because of Cornwall, it's a smaller place, there are actually fewer people for you to hang out with anyway. So I think down here, it's very much the same as Wales and certain parts of more remote parts of the UK. You're kind of forced into these things because it's where you can get guaranteed security and like lack and socialization. And so it might just be that this is something that exists more in more remote areas of the UK than in like main states.
Definitely, I think it's much easier. That's why I do like living in smaller towns and cities and things as well. So then you just are more present with people, and it's much easier. So like we just moved into a smaller town, and basically on a Friday night, you can text some of your mates and someone will be at the pub that you can kind of meet.
Exactly. That's why on a Friday night, like I just knew and someone, and then sure enough, just had a really, really nice evening. And in a weird Cornish way as well, one of my really good old friends has started going out with someone who I know through the other thing that's going on. I was like, well, of course you're there. Well, of course you're here now, part of this thing. This is the most Cornish thing in the world. And it was fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having some more tribes down here.
Driving up.
Yeah, something you deliberately tried to do is when we first got here, you made some friends with you had like a friend who's got some other friends. You're like, all right, so this is my mate Sam.
That was great.
And you sort of organised some dinner parties for us, and we're like, right, we're becoming a tribe. We're going to have some movie nights. We're going to do some themed things, and like, yeah, I was really, really grateful for you doing that.
It gives me major joy. It gives me. I also know what it's like to be alone in like the most hardcore way, and it can be so damaging, and I hold myself majorly accountable although I should have known better. But there are things I did when I was younger to make myself lonely, and I never want to be lonely again. And I can't stand it when other people are potentially lonely. And that's one of the reasons I spread myself thin a while when I started to get more popular and make more friends. Was I naturally will try and drag other people. Not saying you're lonely, but I can't stand the idea of people being on their own and being isolated, and especially like nowadays as well. You know, there are more and more people being isolated, and you just kind of want to go, no, I don't care. And if you are one of the people who formed the tribes, right, you get to dictate who it is, and if they rely on you, and you bring someone else in, like that, I'm like, no, you have to be, you're going to be friends with this person. I'm not bringing this person because of whatever. Like, this is it. You need the different kind of, you need that like smorgasbord of different people to make it what it is and make it.
Yeah,
pop.
definitely. As in, it could be a bit intense if there are too many people just like you in the tribe.
Oh god, you couldn't have like more than one.
Be chaos when you actually just have a dinner party or something. Whereas I've got a few friends that are kind of quite like me. We don't talk loads, but it's still really nice to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
But it is also really nice when there's someone like you around and there is like lots going on.
I like your friends, and they are generally like, I'd say they're about a fifth as loud as I am.
Yeah, so you could meet some more of them who are even quieter, I think.
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
Some of them not.
I just fill the silences, so most of which don't even need to be filled in, but...
Definitely.
Today's sponsor is NordVPN, and I first used them when I had to interview the hitman on the show many years ago, and I had to go through the dark web to interact with various people online who you did not want to have any ability for them to actually track where you were or who you were. And you might not need to be hiring a hitman or doing any other weird dark web based activities, but you might have a need for a VPN that is trustable and reliable and will hide your internet traffic from others so you can do what you want. Or you might want to do things like I now do, such as unlocking Netflix in different countries so I can watch what I feel like watching, or when I'm traveling I can still watch the BBC in the UK and things like that, which more normal people do, such as perhaps yourself. So check out NordVPN because they are basically the best VPN, if you haven't already heard of them on a different podcast. Thousands of servers across the world in every country, not every country, 60 plus countries, and they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, does work with unlocking Netflix, and just helps add a cybersecurity layer to your personal internet traffic and acts as an ad blocker. So why wouldn't you want to use it? Also, they have unlimited bandwidth and just a handy extension for the Chrome browser that's lightweight if you don't want to download the full app, so you can just be browsing within seconds securely. So go to nordvpn.com/growthmindset or use the coupon growthmindset to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a really big discount. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee, as I mentioned, so you don't have anything to lose. That's nordvpn.com/growthmindset or use the code growthmindset at checkout.
Yeah, I had a date yesterday with a girl who she occasionally got a bit like, sometimes I'm not sure what to say, and I just say things and I'm like, it's fine, you don't have to. Like, I live with a guy that fills all the silences and it's just nice to not have all the silences filled now. Like, I'm enjoying the odd moments of quiet. I'm not like...
It is a weird one, but it's also to do with, I think that's also like maybe like an insecurity thing as well. Like it's like I'm used to doing that now because I was someone who wasn't really speaking to anyone for a few years in my life and I was always afraid to speak, and now I'm like, well, I want everyone to have a good time, and if that means I'm going to make an idiot of myself, then so be it, kind of thing.
No, I really like that. Like I'm somewhere as in I definitely just didn't used to speak at all when I was younger, and I'm now like realised that I do have a lot of things to say, and I'm trying to like force myself to sort of put more of those things in. Often like there's the conversations where things are going on, I'm like, oh, I've got something really useful to add.
Yeah.
I'll always like wait to see if it's the perfect moment to say it or something. It won't be because someone will sort of go off on their own tangent. I always miss my opportunity to speak.
What have you got to lose by saying it at the wrong time?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas it's like you always just sort of say things. Like something I noticed like I think back in November, as in you'll tell like a lot of stories, but half of them will actually be shit. But like you just keep on going, and it doesn't matter.
Quantity over quality.
Yeah. Whereas I'm like, I had to wait for the perfect moment to tell the story. Whereas, But then like it's almost too scary to then say it because it's like, oh shit, I have everyone listen to me right now. Whereas if you just like rather
the expectation's too high, man. Like,
exactly.
If you're doing that, it's like, oh my god, Sam's actually piping up. Whereas they expect nonsense from me.
Which kind of makes it much worse for myself.
Yeah. But then again, if you became me, then you wouldn't be being you.
No, but I had a really interesting, literally just before this, I had a coaching call where I was like, so I've always had this great strength that I'm quite analytical, and I really recognise people's flaws and their potential. And
here we go.
The thing is that I go straight for like telling them their flaws and telling them how they can do better. But it kind of, it's like my go-to thing. But I can be quite funny. I just have defaulted to this strength of mine. When I have this other strength that is like really funny and like can be a joyful person to be around, I just when I'm not sure, I default for like the serious side, and I don't need to.
You don't need to. You definitely do that. That's so funny how you've got that introspect. Yeah, that's 100% what you do. You did it to me when we hadn't hung out for ages. You started to like kind of butcher me a little bit on my faults. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm aware.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy with it, but I'm aware that they're there. And you're like,
So I'm trying to like make a habit more of like, okay, can I try and do something just like stupid and joyful every day first, and sort of try and bring that element outside, or like bring those into my relationship.
That's how I know you. When we were growing up and stuff, if there was going to be someone doing something, I would have a collective more amount of stupidity. But going for the big stupid things, that would definitely be more you than me.
Yeah. Sort of, I kind of almost forget that that's something that I have. I was always good for like the really bold, massively stupid things.
Yeah.
I throw myself into them.
Yeah.
And it just seems to have lost that. But it hasn't lost. I just don't default to it as much.
I think you may have lost your like silly geese kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry. There's a bunch of people down here in terms of. I mean, you've seen like the conversations that you had with like Johnny and somebody the other day when we were out at the pub, and you for like 5 or 6 minutes just the most stupid nonsensical thing for that amount of time, and like anyone looking in on that, you just appear like idiots. But as long as you understand that you can appear like an idiot, and that is totally fine. And it's almost like, so kind of who have you, and I don't want to like start asking you questions again, but why do you think that you lost that ability to be kind of an idiot around people?
I don't know, I think it's kind of habits and stuff. And also because I was so focused on like work and success and things.
Yeah.
As in, I kind of over-indexed on that being like a useful thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, so I mean, I was coaching entrepreneurs, I was being entrepreneurs, so I was always in serious mode. And so I guess kind of, because I was doing so much of this stuff, like I just valued that for myself, as in coming back, like people that could help me like on the serious side. That's kind of what I wanted. So I always, if you had like those two things, I was always like, oh, I want to know like the serious thing first. So I kind of felt like that was a valuable thing to be giving to others as well.
Yeah, interesting.
And like I'm like, actually, but I really value it when like Jack like makes me laugh and these other things. Like, why aren't I giving that to people? Like, because I can do that. Why don't I do it?
It's like good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, exactly. And I just sort of always thought that it was a priority. And like my brain comes up with these different ideas, some of which are like change your life and sort of tear you down on all your problems at sort of 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And some of them are just like stupid, banal, random crap. It's like, actually, I've just sort of always given people that side. Why don't I give the other side as well?
By the way, it's banal.
Banal.
Not
Thank
banal.
you. Yeah, banal.
I was like, he definitely just said anal then, but
well, you know, you just trying to add more joy into your life, Jack, so...
What, with a bit of banal?
That's straight.
Oh, God. The conversation you probably never had on the podcast is...
Well...
growth mindset. You learnt from...
Yes.
Banal to banal.
Yeah.
So, you're welcome, audience. Do I leave now, or...?
Yeah, you drop the mic.
Yeah, sweet.
No more to add here. But no, I think that's an important side of, like, tribes and friendship as well. This is, like, having fun together and thinking of who it is that you are in these groups and, like, what you're offering to them, I guess. It's always...
Yeah, and I think... But it's also shared experiences, right? It's you have to have... This one of those things is like... you and I have been friends forever, and the friends who I've been best friends with now since I was like 16, like the tapestry you could form from the amount of stuff we've done together, the stupid stuff, the clever stuff, the heartbreaking stuff, like watching your friends go through tremendous heartbreaks, or like getting engaged, or like family friends dying, or all this stuff, or holiday, like it's immense, and it's almost at the point where you go through all these kind of things and you share them together as a group, because as a group, I'm not sure if you've ever seen the film Midsummer, but they've got this really good thing about like they share emotions, and if you're close as a tribe to one of them, like you are empathetic because you're so close to them. They're like they kind of you'll receive a message one day and it'll be like, so I've got something to tell you, and it'll be 8-9 guys and girls in a group, and it'll be like they drop it in, and you're like. And you feel what they're going through. And there's been so many, since you had WhatsApp and you've had voice notes and all this kind of thing, it's very, very easy to tap into what other people are feeling and share that with someone and get that like love back that you need, and you become reliant on it. And as soon as one person makes it okay for other people to do it, then the other people. And a really good example is like this, I'm part of this rugby WhatsApp group, and we used to just be terrors, like from the age of like 18 to 21, we were basically like quite quintessentially rugby people, but we acknowledged that. And nowadays, you're talking 10 years later, 12 years later, they're one of like the most important support systems that I have. because they're all adults now, and they look back at the way they were when they were like late teenagers and early 20s, like, oh my God, like, oh, I can't believe that. But because we've shared those really crap experiences of being douchey, and then people in that group of doctors now, they're policemen, they're all these different things, everyone, like, there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of people, we genuinely like, care about each other, we genuinely have that for each other, and that is something that just is, you couldn't get that without having that level of shared experiences. And that, like, remembering, oh, do you remember what you did then? It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you remember that. And it's like, yeah, of course I remember it, but that's okay because we're still friends because you did that stuff. So I remember you doing that stuff.
Definitely. Literally last morning I listened to the same meditation on friendship actually, which I found really nice. It's he says there's always like a really important part and elements to friendship around like sort of just forgiveness of each other and all each other's flaws and yeah, like self-development and like helping people improve in these things and being there for each other. But like the most important part, he says, is literally, as you mentioned, just witnessing each other, just being part of each other's lives.
100%.
And just sort of having like this history that you can look back on together is like more important than anything else. And
I'm sure you want other things to talk about this, but one of the defining things that I really struggle when people do it is this idea of you're the sum of the people you surround yourself with, and it's certainly like you're the sum of the people you surround yourself with. I get that. I get why people are saying that. But what that basically is saying is, if you have friends who can be idiotic, or you have friends who do stupid things, it's kind of like incentivizing you to like leave the people who do stupid stuff that can cost you behind, because no one should be eternally happy. No one should be eternally positive.
Congratulations on listening to a whole episode of the Growth Mindset podcast. Before you race into another podcast, try pausing. Ask yourself, what have you learned? What could you change? How will you make that change happen? Did you press pause? Knowledge is useless without action. What did you learn? What should you change? And how will you make that change happen? You can tell us what you learned by contacting us through the website growthmindsetpodcast.com, and feel free to connect with us or our guests, or just peruse the show notes. Our Instagram is @growthmindsetpodcast, or follow me @samjamsnaps for a daily reminder to stop using Instagram. If you enjoy random acts of kindness and want to support the show, you can support us on Patreon or leave us a review on iTunes, and you'll make me very happy. And with that, keep learning and keep growing.